So I was on an AMA today, and one of the things they were talking about on this AMA, I'm not going to name the project, was the fact that they are a art-based project. And I think one of the things that's come up a lot for me lately is that people really want to buy utility in 2022. They don't want to buy just art-based projects like we saw in late 2020 and all of 2021. Art also had a place in the scene, but I'd say now art's more like a hype vehicle for new beginners in the space to kind of get excited about a project. I think you can look at like imaginary ones and see how much hype that had leading up to it. But the real question for me and for a lot of people has been like, what is the utility of imaginary ones? What is the utility of all these other products that are coming out today? Are they innovative? Do they have great teams that have, experience in other areas? And I think that's probably the thing that most people are looking for most in 2022, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. I think that's where I'm seeing a lot of change. So right now, even in the existing artwork projects that were doing well, I would say a few weeks ago, a few months ago, even ones I was talking about on my YouTube channel, like Primate or something like that, they're really struggling at the moment. And I think the big reason for that is not necessarily that they're bad projects, is because when they actually launch, they weren't thinking about what is going to be our utility apart from this artwork collection, and then let's do a second artwork collection, and then let's breed them together or something like that, or do a mutant ape type version. And infect them. They weren't thinking, what else can we do? And I think usually what happens with these collections is you get loads and loads of questions from the community. They say things like, what other utility can we add? Some of them have even started doing, I don't know if you've noticed this, Matt, but they've started doing alpha channels as well, even though originally that was definitely not on their roadmap. So they're looking at artwork and, they're looking at alpha, and they're also then looking at collaborations. Can we do whitelists and stuff like that? Because people are asking the same question. And because they've already got a big following, it kind of makes sense for them to do that. But again, if you look at their original roadmap, some of that stuff, it just wasn't there. And I think they're now kind of chasing their tail almost, trying to play catch up. And like I said, I don't think it's necessarily their fault. I think it's just because NFTs move so quickly. But I'm not sure what you think about that at the moment.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm in a bit of a cynical, bearish mood today, and in the last couple of weeks anyway. I just feel like a lot of new projects coming to the space are cash grabby, to be honest with you. Like they're seeing, okay, what is our value add? We can get whitelists for other projects. We're going to have a pet or a secondary collection that we drop. And if you buy the first one, you'll get access to the second one for free. So it's like a 2-in-1 kind of situation. But all these things are distracting from the real question I ask is like, what is the main purpose of your project? What is the main value? Does it offer me as a holder value? Is it tangible? How long am I going to have to wait for it? Like these are the questions I really want to know, because these are investments at the end of the day, right? We're basically investing in a bunch of different startups. With any NFT collection that you mint, you're basically investing at seed round of a startup. That's more or less what it is. So if I go to a startup company and I want to invest in it, and their only selling point is derivatives, essentially like we can get you access or whitelist to other projects that may also be great or not great, or we can get you alpha for other projects when there's other already alpha groups that are established and exist, like mine, like yours, that do it like as a full-time business, that are much better than a PFP collection that's also trying to do alpha and also trying to do whitelists and also trying to do airdrop collections. These are just, they're like gimmicky things right now that I see a lot over and over again. It's like, oh, we're metaverse ready, and we have a game coming out in God knows when. Like all these things are becoming cookie cutter, and it seems like there's not a lot of innovation. There's not a lot of streamlined value for some of these projects. When I ask questions in AMAs, oftentimes I'm finding it hard to get a straight answer on what do you do and how is it different than anyone else that's doing that already. That question's hard to answer. The truth is not a lot of people are answering it, and that makes me feel like we're in a bit of a bad spot with NFTs overall. I'm curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's a really tricky one here, because the thing is, if they see another PFP collection doing something and it seems to be going all right, they're quick to think, well, if we just replicate and copy, it will work. For example, a new thing I'm seeing is a lot of them, they're quickly moving to staking, earning coins and tokens. Yep. Now, that's all well and good, but if you've not got a clear idea of what your utility is for that token before you launch the token, what are people going to do with all of these coins you're giving them on a daily basis as rewards? They're just going to have, thousands of coins and stuff, and they're just going to dump them on the market. And that's just going to cause a massive mess. If it's not very clear and you have many, many ways that they can actually spend that coin, I would say artwork collections shouldn't be rushing into that. Just because somebody else is doing it and just because somebody's been successful, me with my founder cap on now thinking, that doesn't mean it makes sense for that particular project. So I think you're right. And I think what collections are really struggling with right now is a USP, a unique selling point, or moreover, a unique buying point. Because if you don't really have anything in the NFT space like that right now, and you're just copying what other people are doing, it's going to catch up to you very, very soon, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think one other thing to note that I've talked about recently with my group is that the space is definitely maturing. At least it feels like to me, a lot of the investors that are here have been here for at least a couple months now, or have been here for even longer, like myself, maybe 8-9 months. And you start to really realize, what makes a project good, what projects you want to take a risk on with betting on, essentially, minting at the start or buying in at a pretty low price before they blow up. And I think what we saw in January was a lot of new investors coming into the space. It was really blowing up, and that drove a lot of the hype for just any kind of project. Obviously, the market was just also at its all-time peak at that point. The Google search was at its highest it's ever been. So I think there's a lot of new people in the space that, to put it plainly, I think a lot of the pre-existing, investors that were already there for a while were kind of dumping their bags on these new people, and that's how some of those products were going, crazy. And then you could get on a whitelist, and if you had that, relationship in the scene already, you can get on whitelists, flip those whitelists for profit, and you're basically flipping it to people that are new to the space because they weren't able to get whitelist. They want to be involved. They feel like they might be late. They're willing to FOMO in at a higher price than the whitelist price. And so January was explosive. It was super easy to flip whitelist like crazy. But I think what we're seeing now is that there's been a bit of a slowdown in the market. I'm not going to call it a bear market by any means. I think a bear market means much worse than what we're seeing right now, personally. But I know other people have referred to it as a bear market. I'd say it's just a lull. It's March was definitely more dry than February and January. But I think it's partially because people are catching up to, hey, this rinse and repeat flipping mentality only works if there's fresh minnows in the water to catch. Like you can't flip on each other forever. So there has to be those kind of people, and it's kind of a dog eat dog mentality. Unfortunately, it sounds kind of predatory if you're someone who's been in the space for a while, but that's just the truth of it. It's a market, right? It's an investment market. You have to be smart about what you're doing with these things. And I think what we're seeing is that, I haven't looked at the charts recently, but I imagine that there's a slight slowdown in growth in the last month or two, because I'm seeing everyone in the space that I've talked to and just in general conversations is more mature in their investing strategies. And so when everyone's trying to flip, everyone's trying to stack ETH, these crap projects that people are willing to buy and flip and not willing to hold are going to get pushed to the side real quick, go to zero real quick. Savvy investors that really know that, what's going on are going to only be looking for top projects that have some kind of unique selling point, right? USP. I think it's getting harder and harder to find those products right now at the same time. So there's a less and less quality supply, and there is also less like a newbie demand, which I think is what's led the market into a bit of a slower spot than it was in January.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And the other thing is, I know people talk about bear markets and stuff, but you have to remember, me thinking from a trading mentality, NFT market is still kind of small. So what happens is, when you get one big drop coming that everybody's talking about, one massive collection, land sale, something like that, you do get this effect where, I don't know if it's perception, so people are just following everybody else, but people start selling some of their NFT, let's call it assets, to get involved in this big one project. And the argument there is that it sucks a lot of liquidity as well, or it damages a lot of the average projects in the short term. And then people then call that a bear market because they're just seeing the floor price go down. And I don't think you can jump to these. I agree with you. I don't think you could jump to saying, we're in a massive bear market if you see moonbirds or something go down 30%, because some of these are normal ebbs and flows in any market cycle. So any market, it doesn't matter if it's NFTs, stocks, cryptocurrency as well, moves up and down in trends. There's always pullbacks along the way. So I think that's really completely normal. So I think sometimes when people jump to these words like bear market, you have to be very, very careful.
All right, so Saj, one other thing I've talked to a couple other influencers about recently is the fact that Moonbirds is the latest and greatest to kind of, go from zero to hero. They're already considered a blue chip. When people ask me, why did Moonbirds go to 40 ETH in like a week, when there's a bunch of other PFP projects out there that might look similar, they have pixel art, there's 10,000 of them, right? Like, what's different about this project? And to be honest with you, I don't know if there's any instant utility that Moonbirds holders have, other than the fact that they know the team behind it, Kevin Rose, Ryan Carson, the same people that did Proof Collective that went over 100 ETH, those people are proven in the Web3 space. They have a ton of resources, a ton of connections, and now they have a ton of money. And the things that they can try to do and want to do, and the resources they can provide are worth that much money to some people investing in things like Moonbirds. So that is what I'm seeing with that project. That is the clear-cut reason for why it's getting such massive purchases still at this moment. And other projects just don't have that kind of clout in terms of the team. At least most of them don't. So I would say having a doxed team, meaning that if you have a team that's revealed themselves and you know who they are, what they look like, is good, and it's almost necessary at this point to not, avoid getting rugged. But I'd say teams that really have experience in Web 2 have been successful in Web 2, or even better, have been successful in Web 3 that run new projects, are becoming like the new meta right now.
I would agree with that, especially. So one of the things I advise members to really look at is if you see a project that's launching and it's from a founder or a team who've already launched in the NFT space, you'll know this with your own projects in your own group, because you learn so much every single day about how to run a community. You won't make the same mistakes next time. And also, because you already have a following, you have a community, you have utility as well, you kind of understand how the market works. It's not good enough just being an influencer and have a following, making a successful NFT project, in my opinion. There's so much more to it than that. So I think that extra experience really helps. But I think you're right. Yeah, being doxed is very important, because one other thing I've noticed, I don't know what you would call this. It's kind of like a psychological effect. So let's say I told you about a new project. I didn't give you any details about the project, but all I gave you was the social numbers. So if I told you the Twitter following is 400,000, the YouTube following is 300,000, it's a human being, natural tendency, you're going to assume that that project could do really well and there's a lot of hype just because of the numbers alone. So you have to think about it, even with Moonbirds, you have to think about the actual utility and the experience they have, but also perceived as well. How are other people perceiving how this project is or what it looks like? Because I think that's really important as well. Sometimes people just blindly follow, but there's nothing wrong with that either if you believe that the project can actually succeed. So I don't know about all of the different utility that's listed within Moonbirds, but you're right. If they're already experienced in the space, they've proven it already, they have Doc's team with team members who have a lot of experience, because in my opinion, the team is more important than the founder when it comes to a successful project. If you just hire the best people in many different areas, you're much more likely to succeed than if just the founder is really good, but the team's not great.
That's a really great point, actually. I've seen projects that have 50 to 100K on Twitter. Seems like they have a lot of interaction. Seems like they have a good following. They have a good thing going. And then you see them mint and they don't even get to 20% of their total supply minted. This has happened actually quite a lot lately. And I'm not surprised, because kicking it back to one of the things we talked about earlier on this video is that people in the space are way more mature. And I'm noticing that the outward perception of a project, everyone's always hyped to get a whitelist. Everyone's always hype about a project and wants it to do well, and they're pumping it up, and making it seem like it's going to do really well. Even the investors and the people that have whitelists for it, because they want it to do well, right? If you have a whitelist spot or pre-sale access to a project, it's in your own benefit for that product to do well, because if you want to hold it, great. If you want to flip it, great. You want to make money off of it. Ultimately, everyone has a motivation that is in at least some way beneficial to themselves, right? If I want a product to do well and I want it to pump my own bags, I'm going to talk highly of it. If I want a product to be lower so I can buy in lower and I know that I actually like it, I'm going to talk negatively about it. I'm going to spread FUD if I can. I think there's been a lot of FUD spread just because people want to buy in lower, just because people want to see a product do poorly for whatever reason. Like, this is a real thing. So don't always believe what you see on the outside. Right now, I'd say more than ever, numbers are superficial. They're artificial a lot of times as well. The sentiment and the crypto Twitter buzz is also negative. You have to really understand what a product's value is and think to yourself, do I think this has value to me? Do other people think this has value to them? That's what you should be basing all of your information and your decisions off of, I would say. At least I am at this point. I don't know if you are, Saj, but I would say that this is like where it has gone. You can't just look at these things that were pretty much a guarantee 3 months ago, like the numbers, the notable following, the interaction, the roadmap, like these template things that helped you decide on which projects to buy. no longer exactly apply because people have gotten much smarter and people are all trying to do the same thing at the end of the day, which is make money, stack ETH, and in the process, they're going to flip a lot of projects. And so people are going to try to hide their intentions in hopes that they can kind of pump their own bags. So that's always something you got to be thinking about when you look at any project. I think imaginary ones, I expected to do better. But, in hindsight, looking at it, I kind of am not surprised that it hasn't done as well as I thought it would. And it's because people are looking at what the actual value is right after the mints and in the near term. And I would say they're honestly right. Like, there's not a whole lot I can say immediately that imaginary ones has in terms of value, but it is one of the most hyped, if not the most hyped project I've seen ever in the NFT space pre-launch.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's weird. We're really lucky, in my opinion, in terms of your project, my Wizard Pass NFT as well, because we're in the alpha group niche. I hate that term sometimes, but it's true. That's mostly our niche. I think we're very fortunate we're not in the artwork niche, because I think then we'd be struggling, because as a standard, as a basic minimum, both for our Discords and our communities come with a lot of utility. That's normal for us. So where artwork projects are now scrambling to add in that utility because their community are pestering them about it, we don't have that worry. We can innovate in the space. We already have a lot of value. It was never about artwork for us. But if we wanted to, we could do something similar to Moonbirds, and we could actually release an artwork collection, but that links into the same ecosystem. Just an example. But there's so many things we can do within the space. So we're very fortunate. But again, it comes back to, I kind of understand why some artwork projects are struggling, because they really didn't think too far ahead after mint. And the problem we have is, this is why I think it's even more challenging for beginners compared to 6 months ago. I think literally week one, day one in Discord after they minted, they're going to start asking questions. They're going to be like, well, when utility, when are all these, why can't you, that future collection, I need it today because I need you to pump my bags immediately because I'm in a loss and I need to decide whether I need to sell and then go to some other collection. It's kind of sad to see, but it's the reality. This is what's going on in the space at the moment.
Absolutely. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you, Saj, for coming on and dropping some hot knowledge. Check out his links in the description down below. He's also got an alpha group, so if you want to check that out, definitely recommend it. And we'll see you guys all next time. Have a great day.